What's the most WTF thing you saw at someone else's house that they thought was totally normal? My brother, about 6 at the time, came home from a friend's house upset and confused, and my mom figured out that the kids' parents had been watching porn openly in front of the kids. Needless to say, he was not allowed back, so ducked up. I went to have a sleepover with a friend when we were 10. I show up at her house and there is a dude hanging out in her house. I knew her dad was not around, so when I asked who he was, she told me she did not know. Apparently her mom gets a new boyfriend every week and is constantly left alone with a strange new guy almost daily. After I told my mother about it, I was never allowed back at the house, but my friend was always invited over. When we learned that she only ate Lunchables for dinner, she was also always invited for dinner. Their living room had 8 sofas in it. The room wasn't that big and there was no other furniture. It was like a maze. Was told it was for the Bible study they hosted at their home. So my friend's family has a shrine for her grandma. When I first saw I was like, oh, she probably passed and this is a way to commemorate her, since we also have a little shrine for my grandma. I was on feet with her later on that night when I got home and asked about it, and turns out that her grandma is very much alive and healthy. She explained that she thinks her family is a cult with her grandma as the leader, and I don't know, every time I go to her house I freak out just a tiny bit. Edit 1. Okay, I read the comments laughing my butt off. No, she isn't ducking with me. I wish she was, but I've met her family and they are very how do I put it? I can't even put it in words. On another note, I need to go watch Hereditary real quick. They had a room where they would just let their dog crap on the floor. It did not look like it was cleaned often. I am doing part-time freelance nursing at the moment. One of the cases I attended was a rather large house in the middle of nowhere for an elderly man. When I was let in by his caretaker, I saw the old man lying in a box which was disguised as a bed. I was told it was because the family knew he was on his last legs and eventually he will pass on, so the box was his pre-coffin for the undertaker to take to the parlor, and it's a norm for their family to do this. Creepy, but that wasn't even the worst part. While I was waiting for the antibiotic drip to complete, I looked out the window and saw the backyard of the house. All the coffins of deceased family members were all above ground and you could open the window to see them in the coffins, preserved from the day they died. They were only lowered into the grave once the decomposition begun, despite the preservatives. Apparently, it was part of their beliefs and family traditions. So this was my own house that made my friends go WTF. Apparently, my mom would like to drink, mostly screwdrivers, so our house had a lot of frozen ready orange juice. So my fridge would always have 2 pitchers of orange juice, one with vodka and the other without. This also led to many breakfast mornings of a small shot of vodka before I realized I grabbed the wrong pitcher of orange juice. So one night I stayed at a friend's house on a school night. I woke up in the morning, got ready for school. My friend's family told me to get what I wanted to get it from the fridge to drink. So I opened the fridge, and without hesitation I asked, "Is this orange juice safe?" To which my friend's parents responded, "What do you mean safe?" I humbly reply, "Oh, does it have vodka?" That is when I realized most households don't have 2 pitchers of orange juice. My grandparents have had a human-sized mouse on their stairs for as long as I can remember. It has a bonnet and an apron and wears a long floral dress, and I've honestly got no idea where they got it from and why. She had half a mannequin on her kitchen table that she dressed up. Just the head and torso, no arms and legs. Said it was because she liked some movie and this woman in a box that had no arms and legs. The same girl had a man blow-up doll that she dressed in clothes and buckled in her passenger seat in case someone wanted to carjack her. We called him Dan Dan the Rubber Man. She brought him in work so he wouldn't melt in the car. She was weird. I had an appointment for a dishwasher installation. I am a handyman, out in a place called Capac, a real backwoods, redneck wonderland. No offense to my 4x4 brothers, they were on what they called a free farm, I think. All the animals ran free, and some even had access to the inside of the house. There was shit everywhere, like Literal animal shit. It covered so much of the driveway I had to tiptoe, and it was all over the house. I walked past 5 piles of animal droppings attempting to hike my way to their kitchen. They openly apologized for the crap, citing their disabilities as the reason they had not disposed of the shit. Primary animals running free were geese and ducks. There were lots of pigs, dogs, cats, and other animals too. I did not do the job and never went back. I had dinner at a friend's house once, when I was like 7-8, and they did not allow any drinks at the dinner table. I had to stand in the kitchen and drink my water when I asked for it. I am going to say medium rare chicken. Had dinner at my friend's house when I was 10. They said the blood made it delicious. I tried to politely ask if I could microwave it a little longer, which offended them and resulted in a lecture of how they ate people during WTF in Romania and how lucky I was to have medium rare chicken. Edit: you never know what posts are going to blow up, but this certainly wasn't one I would have guessed on. Now to answer all the questions about the cannibalism. It was not intentional and is something that really make me thankful to live in a place and time where I am pretty confident it would not happen to me. Basically, it was during the war in a very poor part of the country and the local butchers ran out of animals, so they would sneak out on the battlefield at night to harvest fallen soldiers to serve to the village the next morning. This went on for some time before the secret was revealed. I just cannot imagine the feeling of finding something like that out. Also, I know there is technically not blood and meat you buy from the store, but I was 10 and if I just said red juice, yeah, LL would have wondered what it was. She was getting tongue-kissed by her adopted grandpa, and she wondered why I did not kiss her when I left. Using a friend's bathroom, ran out of toilet paper, looked for a new roll under the sink and was horrified to see that used tampons were put into a paper grocery bag and just left there. Had to have been years worth. There are no words. Had dinner at my cousin's house, my one and only visit there. They did not have anything to drink with their meal, did not believe in it, not even water. They also had a pet raccoon chained to a tree. My uncle is 50 years old, he is retired and a millionaire. He never had a girlfriend. He spends his time with video games and prostitutes. His house is filthy, the smell is unbearable. In that beautiful house of his he has over 700 devils. Plush devils, plastic devils, glass devils, big devils, small devils, you name it he has it. It is all over the place, on table shelves and on the floor. He loves them. More of an attitude. I remember waving the cigarette smoke away from my face and her dad saying not to because it was rude. I was prob 8 or 9 at the time and I grew up in a smoke-free home, so someone blowing smoke in my direction was not at all normal to me. And worst, somehow I was the rude one. We looked at a house where the current owners had small stone statues of angels next to every door and window. You had to move the statue to get through the door. They said we are Christian people. We did not ask. A framed hole in the wall. My friend had a mental breakdown once and punched a hole in their living room wall. Their mother framed it. My friend's house featured a life-sized cutout of his sister who was away at college that was moved into a different place every time I was over. A very detailed and sculpted wooden dildo. The heck are you doing in my house? My friend's mom walked around the house in just her underwear, no shirt, no bra, just her underwear. I have seen some shit in people's houses when I was doing community nursing, but my memory is so shite, so I will go with the life-size Dalek in the living room. The house where the ceiling in every room was covered in wind chimes, and I mean there wasn't a bit of space that did not have a wind chime dangling from it. While in elementary school, we lived in a 4-story apartment complex, had a new neighbors move in just below us and they had 4 kids, I think. I had been invited over by the daughter that was my age. While getting the tour of her room and whatnot, I noticed streaks on the floor in several of the rooms and an odd smell. We get to her room and I move the door and there's human shit in the corner of the door. At the wall, one of her little brothers is running around with diapers on and she explains to me that he is being potty trained. but explains it as if it's normal that there's dried shit behind every door because he's learning. Never went back to that house. Edit streaks were in front of each door from the shit being dragged across the floor by the door. A dude had a self-portrait about 2 feet tall, 3 feet long picture frame of himself laying naked on the couch with his dick tucked in. Imagine someone who looks closely like Kurt Cobain with a massive bush. This was hung up above the archway leading into the kitchen. Edit this was in Salt Lake City. A friend in high school had all the normal pictures in the hallway, family and various places, vacations, etc. But there was one of his dad on a pier with a fishing pole. On closer inspection, hanging at the end of the pole, like a large fish he had just caught, was his mother, fully nude and hanging upside down, just like a fish. My friend refused to talk about the picture. I have shared this before. They let the cat walk on the table during meals and eat off of people's plates. When I gently nudged the cat away from my plate, the mom went off on me for interfering with the free will of a sentient being. I was terrified. She was screaming and furious. I was maybe 10 at the time. I adore my cats and do give them tiny tastes of safe people food. They are well cared for and have free run of most of our house, but they are not allowed on the damn table, which means they only do it when we are not looking. LOL. Wall-to-wall Playboys. I never got any sleep at that house because I'd be up reading the comics and getting hypnotized by 70s Bush. I am a contractor who had a rich doctor as a customer. I was working on a project outside. On the last day of the job, I knocked on the door to settle up with him, and his maid answered the door and had me wait in the entrance. As I waited inside his rather large entry, I was looking around, and it was hard not to see this huge statue of a horse's head that was coming out of the ground. The horse was looking straight in the air. I thought interesting. Then, on the wall to my right, I see a couple smaller paintings, nude paintings that were not too out of the ordinary for the average nude painting, until I realized they were nude paintings of little girls, like 5-year-old girls. Then I realized the horse's head was not a horse's head at all, it was a 6-tall phallus. Pregnant very mom casually having a conversation with her husband and 13-year-old son, while the son and father were casually laying on the bed, nothing sexual, but the mom was completely nude, super weird to my young eyes. They kept their Christmas tree up all year with ornaments, but stored it in a walk-in closet. It was their only Christmas decoration, so it only took a few minutes to decorate for Christmas. My next door neighbor's entire decor, awesome to me, but it is not every day you walk in and the shelves are lined with decorative skulls, spiders, various witchcraft items from ceiling to floor. She has a huge weirdly shaped drawer filled with 100 or so little plastic skulls and glass cabinets filled with potion bottles and such. At one point, one whole wall was covered with the flags of the 4 Hogwarts houses because she threw her kid a Harry Potter themed birthday party and did not want to take them back down. Never been in the bedroom, but she has enthusiastically talked at length about her and her husband's BDSM collection that fills an entire closet. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.